10 scientists materialize on an ancient Roman road. Their modern clothing stark against the stone and dust of the empire they don't understand. Soldiers surround them in confusion and fear. The scientists attempt to flee toward a marketplace, but are chased through narrow alleys as citizens scream in terror, calling them sorcerers or messengers from gods. In a dark stone prison cell, one scientist finds an injured officer and begins treating his wound using boiled instruments, clean water, and pressure to stop bleeding, the only tools he has left. The scientists are brought before a governor who watches their demonstration of improved sanitation, water filtration using cloth and charcoal, and a small pressure pump. Ideas that seem strange but hold promise. The scientists are brought before the emperor's court, not as guests, but as potential threats to an empire that has never known such knowledge. The scientists are moved to a guarded workshop where Roman engineers begin copying their ideas. Pulleys, road planning tools, and early models of mechanical advantage that will change the empire's future forever. The scientists are dragged through the streets, their modern clothing marking them as outsiders in an empire that does not understand what they represent. In the prison cell, the officer survives, and with him, a chance to prove that knowledge can be more powerful than fear or force. Word spreads quickly, not just that the scientists are alive, but that they have knowledge Rome has never seen before. The governor's court is no longer just a place for debate. It becomes a battleground where ideas are tested and lives hang in the balance. The emperor's advisors begin drawing maps, not just of the empire, but of what could be if these strange minds are given more time. The scientists are no longer just prisoners, they have become something else. Advisors, innovators, and perhaps even architects of a future that has not yet been written. In the prison, knowledge becomes survival. Not just for the scientists, but for an empire that has never known healing beyond superstition or brute force. As days pass, the officer begins to recover. And so does the scientist's reputation among the guards who once saw them as cursed outsiders. The governor hears of the miracle and demands a meeting. Not just for justice, but for answers that could change Rome forever. In a dimly lit room, the governor watches as one scientist pours water through layers of cloth and charcoal, producing clean liquid from murky well water. Word spreads, not just of healing, but of possibilities that could make Rome stronger than any empire has ever been. The emperor himself begins to take notice, not just of the scientists, but of what they could mean for an empire that has never stopped expanding. The governor tastes the clean water, and for a moment, he believes in something other than conquest or war. One scientist sketches a new system for aqueducts, not just to carry water, but to purify and distribute it across entire cities. The governor demands to see more, not just science, but strategy. A map is unfurled showing roads that could move armies faster than any empire has ever known. In secret workshops, bronze gears and pulleys are tested for the first time. A mechanical future being built one cog at a time. Word reaches the emperor's ears, not just about science, but about power. A new kind of empire is being forged in his name. A signal tower is built on the edge of the empire, not for war, but to send messages faster than any courier could ever run. The emperor's advisors argue, not just over survival, but over legacy. Can Rome become something greater than it was ever meant to be? One scientist warns that knowledge without limits can become a weapon of control. Not just for empires, but against them. The emperor demands results, not just from the scientists, but from the empire itself. A new era begins under his watchful gaze. The first signal tower is completed, not to warn of enemies, but to send messages across vast distances in moments instead of days. In secret, the scientists begin to question their role, not just in saving lives, but in shaping destiny itself. The empire begins to change not just in power, but in scale. Cities grow, roads expand, and knowledge becomes the new currency of an ancient world. The scientists are moved to a guarded workshop where Roman engineers begin copying their ideas. They introduce pulley systems, better road planning tools, and early models of mechanical advantage. The first working prototype is tested, not in the emperor's court, but by common laborers who see immediate benefit in lifting heavier loads with less effort. The scientists begin teaching basic principles of leverage and force multiplication, ideas that will soon be etched into stone as part of imperial engineering projects across the empire. The workshop becomes a place of quiet revolution, where ancient hands shape new tools, and old traditions are rewritten by modern logic. The first improved road is laid using new survey techniques and reinforced with materials never before used in Roman construction. It will carry more than just armies. It will carry ideas. The scientists watch as Roman engineers begin to apply these ideas not just locally, but across provinces. A silent revolution taking shape in every workshop and forum. Clean water flows from newly built fountains, and for the first time in generations, disease is held at bay by something other than prayer or superstition. Roman officials debate whether to expand these systems. Some fear change. Others see an opportunity to control the health of the empire itself. The scientists watch as Roman laborers begin constructing underground drainage systems. A vision of modern plumbing taking shape in ancient stone. The emperor's advisors present reports showing lower death rates and higher productivity. Proof. They say that these new systems are not just useful, but necessary for the empire's future. The scientists argue among themselves. Some believe they are saving lives. Others fear what this power might mean for an empire that has never known limits before. As the empire grows healthier and stronger, One scientist begins to see something unsettling. Not just an advanced Rome, but an unstoppable one. The emperor invites the scientists to his court, where he sees their knowledge not as a threat, but as an opportunity for eternal power and expansion. Roman engineers begin constructing signal towers across the empire using polished bronze mirrors to send messages faster than any courier ever could. The scientists are forced to teach Roman officers how to use advanced siege machines, weapons capable of breaching even the strongest city walls with precision and force. The emperor commissions a new class of warships with reinforced hulls, improved rudders, and sails designed for greater speed and maneuverability across the seas. One scientist begins to question whether their knowledge is saving lives or fueling an empire that will never fall, growing stronger with each new invention. The scientists are taken before the emperor once more, not as guests, but as advisors. Their knowledge now essential to a future where Rome is unstoppable and unchallenged. In a dimly lit chamber, voices rise in heated debate as one scientist warns that Rome is no longer just learning. It's consuming their knowledge with an insatiable hunger. As the debate grows louder, another scientist steps forward to argue that knowledge should be shared freely, even with an empire that may never fall. The Roman engineers begin constructing massive aqueducts with reinforced stone and iron, systems that will carry clean water across entire provinces for the first time in history. The crisis changes shape. Among the scientists themselves, there is growing tension. Some believe they should continue helping Rome. Others warn that they may be creating an empire that will never fall. One scientist finally speaks out alone, warning that they have not saved history. They have rewritten it into something unrecognizable and unstoppable. The emperor's advisors listen with growing unease as one scientist warns that Rome is no longer an empire of men. It is now a machine, and machines do not care who built them. The empire's reach is no longer limited by land. It now spans the oceans through ships built for speed, endurance, and conquest. The scientists begin training Roman soldiers in tactics once thought impossible, using geometry, optics, and terrain analysis to outmaneuver enemies with precision. The empire's cities grow not just in size, but in complexity. With public health systems that reduce disease faster than any civilization before it. The scientists are no longer just advisors. They have become overseers of a system too vast to be stopped by any one man or idea. One scientist walks alone through an ancient forum, now transformed into a center for learning, innovation, and control over the empire's future. As the empire grows stronger, one question lingers above all others. What will become of those who once saved it? The empire's legions now march not by instinct, but by calculated precision, their movements guided by maps that predict terrain, weather, and enemy positions long before battle begins. The empire's engineers begin constructing optical signal towers that stretch across the land, relaying messages in seconds, where once it took days for legions to communicate. One scientist stands alone on a hill overlooking the city, watching as legions move like machines, and realizing that what he once called progress may now be something else entirely. In secret meetings beneath the empire's grand halls, some scientists begin to question whether their knowledge has ever truly belonged to them, or was always meant for Rome alone. The emperor declares that Rome will no longer be bound by time or tradition. It will become something new, an empire of science, ruled not by gods, but by logic and order. As the sun sets over an empire no longer bound by its past, one scientist walks away from the grand halls, knowing he may be the last man who ever saw history as a thing that could change. The scientist's warning echoes through the halls of power. But no one listens, as Rome accelerates toward an empire that will never fall. Across continents, an alternate world map reveals a Roman Empire that never fell. Its cities gleaming with advanced roads, ships, and knowledge far beyond their time. The empire's engineers build machines of precision, not to serve man, but to ensure that no force on earth can ever challenge their dominion again. The scientists watch from the shadows as Rome becomes more than an empire. It becomes a machine of order, logic, and unstoppable expansion. The empire's libraries now hold not just scrolls and books, but blueprints for a future where no one ever questions the power of Rome again. Rome did not collapse. It learned. It organized. It industrialized.
This is Lost in the Unmade. Thanks for watching to the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you want to see another impossible timeline, leave your idea in the comments.